All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Really excited to have you on the presentation today. Victoria and I have put together some amazing content for you, and we are basically going to talk about how to effortlessly attract clients. So if, Victoria, if you could go ahead and, yes, perfect. So how to effortlessly attract high-quality leads every day and never have to worry about where your next client is coming from. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and do a sound check and make sure that everyone can see our screen and everyone can actually hear us. And if you can, go ahead and type yes in the chat, because we want to make sure that we don't go through this whole thing and you can't actually see the slides or hear us. So perfect. Yes, 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 yes. We're all good to go. So let's go ahead and get into it. And the first thing I want to talk about is we have a free gift for everyone who sticks around to the very end of the webinar. And what that gift is there's a $600,000 a year funnel that I use and many of my clients use, and we're going to send you what that funnel is, and we're also going to go ahead and send you the slides of this presentation so you don't have to take any notes. So with that being said, however, I do want to encourage you to make sure that you write down anything that is important. And the next thing is let's address the big elephant in the room, because you see so many presentations these days about oh, there's nothing for sale on this webinar. But here's the deal: we are going to make you an offer at the end of the presentation. But here's the deal: I suspect you're going to get tremendous value whether you take us up on that offer or not. So it is definitely in your best interest to stick around. So let's go ahead and move on and get into the meat of this. So what I like to talk about first are the problems. So I'm an old Frank Kern alumni, and we always talk about the big ass problem. So this is a problem that probably most of us, or at least if you've made it to this presentation, this is something that we're experiencing. We're not making offers every single day and giving people an opportunity to hire us so we could perform some services for them. You don't have a steady stream of qualified leads. You don't have people reaching out to you every day for a conversation about how you can help them. And what all of that comes down to really is you're not making the money you need to survive. And that is really the root of the problem, and not having money to get certain solutions that you need to make all of this happen. So go ahead and let's move to the next slide, Victoria. And want you to go ahead and in the chat box tell us, if this is you. Are you on the roller coaster revenue roller coaster? It's my favorite term. And so what that is I mean, have you had a great month this month, but maybe maybe last month it was not any good, or you had a good month a month or two ago and then the next one or two have not been consistent? So the revenue roller coaster is not having consistency, and that certainly brings a lot of stress in business. So I know that before I had consistency in revenue, I had a lot of stress. So, and have you ever been at the level where you really want to break through to the next level, but you just can't get there? And also, sometimes things are just going really, really good, but something unexpected happens in your business and it just puts you right back on the revenue roller coaster. I mean, a client puts your services on hold, or they quit, or whatever, and especially if you're working with a small amount of clients and you have 10 clients and 2 go away, you've just dropped 20% of your revenue. So that could be a big thing. So if any of those things sound like you and you can identify it, go ahead and type yes in the chat box, because this is certainly an interactive presentation, and the more we know about your, where you're at, the more we can custom and tailor the questions to make sure that we're helping the right people. So let's go ahead and move on. And
Jimmy, I just wanted to say that does seem to resonate with people, because I'm getting the, oh yes, too true, wish wish it wasn't the case. So we actually do have, I think, a lot of entrepreneurs in the same boat, where they're seeing some sales coming in one month, having to fight for the next month, and not seeing a consistent stream of traffic and revenue coming through the business. So if that's you, thanks for being open and honest. You're in good company, and this is what this presentation is designed to help you with. So with that, Jimmy, I'll hand it back over.
Perfect. And I just, give me 1 second to, to digress. Is I forgot to, we'll get into more about who we are and what we do and why you should listen to us. But I forgot to, I think I forgot to introduce you, Victoria, because we both wanted to welcome everyone. So forgive me for that, and we'll get into that very shortly. But let's get back to your problems and stay engaged with us and the checklist, so we can go ahead and chat in the chat box, and we can get down to this and help you. So really stay engaged, because the more you stay engaged, the more you're able to hear something that will resonate with you, and something that you could actually implement in your business to start getting some results. So does this sound like you as well? Are you stressed and sometimes sick and worried about not making ends meet in your business? Do you feel guilty because a lot of times you're spending all of your time wondering where the next client is during family time, and you're not actually, present for your family? Does that sound like you? And you do things you don't want to do just because you need the money? Have you ever taken on a client and you're performing a service for them, and it may be a service that you generally don't like to do, but you just took on a project short term because you needed to make money? Well, if this is you too, we certainly are going to show you a great solution so you can solve that problem. And let's go ahead and ask the big question. Now, when I ask you this, if you go ahead and type it in the chat box, it's going to be private and no one else can see the chat box. In fact, Victoria will be the only one to see it. I won't even see it. But let me ask you this question. Who here is not earning at least $50,000 per month consistently? And consistency is the key here, because I was speaking to someone just a couple of days ago, and they had a $100,000 month, but that was back in January, and since that $100,000 month, it's been 10, 30, 15, 8, 40, and so that is the revenue roller coaster. And I mean, that's the epitome of having one great month and not being able to sustain and do that consistently month in and month out. So if you're not making $50,000 a month, go ahead and type that in the chat box, and you'll start to see why this all makes sense to you. But remember, it's private, so don't, let's just play full out. So let's
and Jimmy,
go to the next.
Yeah, and just so you know, and thanks to everyone who it can be tricky to talk about finances and to admit it, but I think one of the first things is really admitting to ourselves where we are and what that baseline is. And so thanks to the folks who did write in, just to share that they're not really where they want to be right now. They're not making 50K per month, or maybe their target is 100. But with this slide, we do have people on the call that's saying, yeah, they're not making 50,000 a month consistently. So we're in good company here.
Awesome. And you know, I like to put 100 really, but that intimidates some people.
I know
So,
you do
you
because
know.
I've been to your mastermind. That's why I was like, so
Yeah,
yep.
awesome, awesome. So, you know, the next question I would ask is who here does not have predictable lead flow? And that kind of goes back to that first question. I mean, do you have people reaching out wanting to talk to you about helping them every single day? So if you don't have that, I mean, if you do not have that, go ahead and type in the chat box. And, you know, if you're typing yes, that you do not have it in the chat box, you are definitely in the right place. So
Yep.
how do we look on that,
You
Victoria?
know what? I think the two must go hand in hand because we're getting yeses coming through for this as well. Or see, someone here says yes, predictable lead flow, but still low sales. So we have a mix, but most of the people, there's a definite link between the consistent predictable lead flow and the consistent predictable revenue.
Awesome. Well, we've got some good stuff for you. So the real problem at the end of the day is that you're not making enough money, because although money can't solve every problem, it can solve a lot of problems for you. And you'll see what we mean as we get into this. But, you know, not making enough money is definitely a business and personal stressor. So that is the root of all of the problems. And the result of that problem is we basically have no freedom, no lifestyle. We're awake at night wondering where the next client comes from. And the biggest challenge that I see entrepreneurs have, especially solo or small team entrepreneurs, is when you don't have enough money, it keeps you open to the BSO, the bright, shiny object. And, you know, one of the things that is so ironic that I see, and it's such a crippler, when we're looking at what we're doing and how we're doing it, and a situation that looks good presents itself, then we may be attracted and go down that rabbit hole. I mean, I've done it myself. I remember being at a conference one time, and one of the other presenters told this, you know, I had just did a great story about how I had, you know, made some consulting offers and did some good sales and all that stuff, and another marketer tells me about, you know, how they made $1 million selling a manual about how to you know, how to build an ice cream cart, and I was like ready to jump ship and go into the next thing. So, you know, all of that stuff looks really good, but when you really have your revenue consistency dialed in, that's just stuff we can, you know, look at and not even really waste it. In fact, once you get that solved, you may even unsubscribe from a bunch of lists because you're not always looking for the next bright, shiny object. That's just kind of my experience. So, you know, the bottom line is the reason that this has happened, which is a little different from the problem, is you don't have consistent lead flow in your business. But here's the deal. The model is producing exactly what it should be at this time. And that is just what we need to look at as a data point to say, okay, here's where I am and here's what I want to go. So at this point, it may be time to change the model up a little bit. So moving on, what we really have to look at and what we really need to have is we need to get that lead flow fixed so we could hit your goals. And I would kind of take a step back with everyone and let's say, you know, if you're not hitting that number, or if that's your number, it doesn't matter what your number is, but, you know, if you have in your mind that I want to hit 50K and you consistently hit 10 or 25, you know, maybe it's time to do something a little different, right? And so that's what this is all about. So let's do an exercise. I like to use that 50K because I hear that a lot. So that's basically a $600,000 annual income at 50 a month. So let's look at that. And if you're doing $50,000 a month, I mean, to do $50,000 a month, you'd have to essentially do $12,000 a week. And if you're not doing that yet, what I would ask is how much is that actually costing you? So, you know, when one of the things that I do is I like to bring numbers and put it in front of people, because we all, you know, we get talking about these big numbers, and one day when I get to this big number, and one day when I get to this big number, but in reality we can make that big number happen quicker, but it's going to come through systems. It's not just going to happen one day where all of a sudden I'm going to be at $600,000 a year and everything will be great. What I had to do was look at where I was struggling and make the changes there that would allow me to get to 600,000. So if you look at that, and if last year you said you wanted to be at 50 and you're still at 50, and we hold this mirror up and look at it in reality, but only as a data point, not to beat myself up, it's I've basically cost myself $12,000 per week to not fix this lead flow problem. And so that's what I want to bring up for you, is to look at it and see how things are working in your business and see where you are and how long you've been wanting to say something. And I think that's also important into moving into execution and moving in immediately. Because although there is a ramp-up time, every single week we wait and put this off, it's costing us that amount of money weekly. So, you know, my bigger question before we get into some content here is, how long are you going to settle for not hitting your goals? How long is that going to be acceptable for you? And that's something that I can't decide for you, but it's something that you have to really figure out for yourself. And, you know, for me, I think time is the most valuable asset that I have. That pretty much the only thing that can't be replaced is my time. And so if I waste, you know, another year trying to figure something out and I'm not hitting my goals, then that lessens the impact that I'm going to be able to have with my time. So with that being said, let's get into who we are. And I'm Jimmy Harding, and this is Victoria Grigg. Say hi, Victoria.
Hello, hello.
All right, awesome, awesome. And, you know, so we've done a lot of things. We've been in the trenches. We are in the trenches about helping people solve this problem of lead flow and lead generation. So our client list, let's go ahead and move on, and we'll see that, you know, why you should listen to us. So, you know, we not only work with any everyday people that you would not, you know, that you wouldn't recognize their name, but we also have a list of celebrity clients, or who may be celebrities within our niche, which include Joe Polish, Dean Graziosi, Mike Koenigs, John Assaraf, Pam Hendrickson, and the Dale Carnegie Institute. And the reason they come to us is because we get them results. And I know that so far we've helped our clients combined create an additional 8 figures in income this year. So we get our clients results, and that's why they come to us, and I think that would be a good reason that you should listen to what we're going to talk about. Now, I think the biggest piece that almost everyone is missing are the 2 systems, because what I hear about all the time is the marketing system, the funnel, this, that, all of the funnel building gurus, and they just don't understand that traffic is a system too. And you have to have both of these in order to dominate. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Victoria? I know you are passionate about traffic system.
I am. Thanks. And one of the things that I hear from, uh, I've heard from a number of people in our industry is, oh, well, traffic is easy. You build a funnel and then you go to the traffic store. Now, while traffic, there are a lot of places to get paid traffic and to find your targets. Doing it in a way that actually makes your funnel successful is an art in itself. And so I cringe a little bit every time I hear someone talk about, well, there's traffic and there's conversion, and you spend 99% of your time getting the funnel built out, the series of things that people are going to do to buy from you, and then in the last few days you go to the traffic store and send some people through. And so I think that what a lot of people are missing out on is the full power of the marketing funnel they've built out by not building a traffic funnel that goes right alongside it to help move people through. So that's exactly what we're going to be getting into a little bit later today.
Awesome, awesome. And that's actually both of our specialties. So, for several years we've been doing this. So, just to have a little background about how we got into this, is we started learning it and doing it for ourselves, and as being marketing consultants, we use it to attract our own clients and to help our clients attract clients. So we're literally in the trenches, and things are changing every day, but the basic principles that if you get your system set up properly, you'll never have to worry about any type of changes on any of the platforms. So let's go ahead and talk about the 5 steps to predictable profits. And at this point, Victoria, I'd like to have you go ahead and take over the presentation and get into this.
Excellent. Happy to. Happy to. And, all of the things that Jimmy talked about earlier in the presentation with the questions of, do you have predictable traffic and lead flow and, predictable revenue coming through? Well, predictable leads, predictable revenue is all tied back to the marketing systems that you have in place. And what are you doing every day to make sure that leads are coming to your business so that you can have the conversations that you need to have? Now, we have a number of different business models. I know because I know some of the people on the call here, we have a number of different business models represented. So whether you're selling, whether you're in e-commerce or you're selling high ticket, $20,000 plus type of packages, and we do have a range, then these core principles still apply. So I don't want you to look at these and think, okay, well, that's great if I'm doing this type of traffic or this type of funnel, because these aren't for me. What we're talking about here are some core basic principles that will help take any business model and any marketing campaign and get the most that you can out of your marketing activities, and also really show you what's working and what's not working, because data is the key, and getting yourselves right from the start, getting where you can take the appropriate action next, which means some planning and forethought ahead of time, you'll be amazed what it can do for the campaigns. So I'm going to go over quickly here and then dive into a little bit of detail and do a quick recap. So the first is really defining your traffic plan. I think a lot of people set up their traffic funnels, and their marketing funnels, and they're really worried about what is going to be the offer. And that's the exact right place to start, is thinking about what is it that I want to sell, who are my ideal clients, who do I want to attract. Now, some people start with a product and work their way and say, I have this product, now who's the right fit for the product. Other people are looking and saying, here are the ideal clients I want to work with, what kind of challenges do they have? And either approach works. So, but working from that offer back through the marketing funnel is what you're really doing, is looking at what are the steps that someone needs to take that make it fun and natural to buy from you online. Now, with each of those steps, there are things that will move them from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. And as you're building out your marketing funnel, you want to keep those in mind as well, because those are going to lay the foundations for a traffic plan. Now, of course, we want to set up the tracking so we know exactly what's happening step by step, putting in place a traffic system, ad promotions, and a traffic plan early. So let's go into a little bit each of these so you can see how it applies to you. So the first one is defining a traffic plan. Now I mentioned that we spend a lot of time defining this marketing funnel. You can look at this green section here, and that's going to be really looking at you might want to think of those as stages. Depending on your business, this might be signing up for a free report, then opting in to see a webinar, then signing up for a strategy session, and then potentially getting on a call and potentially becoming a customer. So that's a very typical type of marketing funnel, and in that you have some marketing messages, you have sales messages that are the offer. There's really the first part of the funnel is marketing, then it transitions to a sale and the offer. But there are a number of things that people don't necessarily think about right at the start, and those are the 5 different kinds of traffic. If you're looking at 5 different kinds of traffic and actually planning your campaigns before you start any ads, before you actually start sending people to your landing page, keep these things in mind. And so let me go ahead and I'll tell you what some of these 5 different types are, and then we'll talk about really why they're so different and why they're important. So the 5 types of traffic that I look at in campaigns: cold, warm, hot, likely, and lost. Let me go over through a little bit about what those are. Cold traffic is where they don't know you at all, and you're targeting some people who, based on their interests or demographics or behaviors, are likely to be interested in your business and in what you have to offer. But they don't know you. So these people are cold. They are essentially strangers at the party. You walk into a party, you see friends that you know, acquaintances, strangers. These are the strangers at the party. But they very well could become friends if approached in the right way. Now, the next that I talk about is warm traffic. Warm is that, of course, in between where they know about you, they've kind of started to engage with you, but maybe they haven't fully committed, so they actually haven't introduced themselves. These would be people that are very obvious ones are fans, website visitors. So people that have started to engage with your content, but they haven't raised their hand and said, yep, I definitely want to be on your list and learn more. The hot traffic are your email lists. Likely traffic are really looking and saying, okay, based on what I know right now of my clients, who else is likely? Now, Facebook has a fantastic thing called a lookalike audience that you can do. Google has some areas in that as well. And you can also be with keywords or interests, but this is really different from cold traffic in that you're not proactively targeting yourself, but you're using tools that ad platforms give you to find a similar audience using their algorithms. So those are likely traffic. Now, the real benefit, though, and what makes all the difference is this lost traffic. So lost traffic that you can see here down the side of the funnel, these are people that may not move from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. You never have 100% conversion. There are always people that leave the funnel, and you hear people call that like a leaky funnel. So how do you stop those leaks? Well, this lost traffic piece is where a lot of the real money is. So at the very basic tactical level, and I'm sure many of you have this in your mind as you're hearing this right now, you say, oh, well, gosh, it's retargeting. And if you don't know what retargeting is, I'll get into that in just a little bit, but you're exactly right. It's retargeting is a very key piece and way to approach it, but it's strategic retargeting in ways that you really need to plan at the beginning of your campaign so that you're ready to get the most out of it as your funnel executes. So now let's go on to step 2. So step 2 here is actually making sure that now, if think about the first step, we've set up our marketing promotion. We've also looked at how we're going to run ads differently based on the type of traffic we have coming in and where they are in the funnel. And essentially what we're doing is we're targeting our traffic so that it is, we're targeting our ads so that we're speaking to people in the right context, where we're not going up to a friend and saying, hi, my name is, but we're also not going up to a stranger and saying, buy my stuff. So we have, we're looking at the 5 different types of traffic, but before we run ads at all, we want to be sure that we're able to see through the whole funnel. Now, what I did here is actually set up, I just grabbed a couple of line items from a Facebook report because these couple of line items, these are actually individual ads. So this is a report based on individual ads in a larger campaign. And I wanted to pull these and show them to you because it illustrates a point that I'm talking about. One of the challenges a lot of people face is that they're only focusing on front-end acquisition. If you only focus on the front-end acquisition of clients, then you may be actually settling for lower cost leads, but also lower sales. This happens to be a little snapshot from a Facebook report, and you can see the ads. I chopped off the ads on the left here, but there'd be ads here on the left. These are the click-through rates of the ads. On this particular ad, we spent, $185. This is, and that was actually for the amount spent on the ad itself. The total, these are the total amount of, I'm sorry, the total amount spent. This is amount spent per day, total amount spent, and then we have some of our checkout value as well. And so for our checkout value, what we're looking for is, okay, where are the checkouts coming from? And we see here that we have a cost per lead here of $264, but our $264 per lead is actually getting us $591 in sales. This cost is $1.56 per lead, but we're getting $197 per sale. So if we were optimizing these ads simply based on a per lead cost, what we're missing out on is the fact that we can pay a few cents more per lead and get hundreds of dollars more per sale. But we don't know that unless we're setting up tracking from end to end and we're actually looking at those numbers the whole way through as we optimize the campaigns. So not just in a report at the end of the day and going, oh gosh, so what worked and what didn't, but throughout the campaign so we can make real-time decisions of what ads to turn off and what ads to keep on.
And Victoria, consistently, every ad account that I have peeked into, this is the biggest challenge and struggle that every single person, every single company that is running ads, they do not have tracking and they do not have that system set up. So like you said, we don't know what is going on to the very end. And I mean, I literally see people who are spending tens of thousands of dollars a month per ads, and they don't know if the ads are actually producing sales. They just know that, okay, this is we're willing to pay this for a lead. It's a good lead price, but they don't know if it is creating sales. Now, obviously, they're getting sales, but I mean, when you have 10 different ads running, I personally want to know which one of the 10 is getting the sales, because that's the one I want to shut the other ones off and crank that one up, and
yeah.
Consistently, even even the people who, are providing Facebook agency services, they just don't have this in place.
Well, and also, actually, let me go back to that, because I, quickly for the presentation, grabbed two line items. I pulled up this report, and this was a promotion that I ran for a client, and I'll often have 100 different ads running, and it's really important to know what ads are converting and what ads aren't. And those 100 different ads are for different audiences and really different targets. And overall, we made more than double our money ad spend back on a product that was about $197. So, and what we see here for Facebook, what we're trying to do a lot of times break even. Sometimes we want to go negative on our, if we have a big back end offer, but usually the clients I'm working with, they want to see at least break even on the front end. And then for certain situations where we're doing a launch, we can see huge returns on investment from Facebook ads, in the 7-8 times. This happened to be a standard promotion, and it ran for maybe about a month and a half, and we got, like I said, I believe it was at least a couple times back on it. I'm trying to think back to the exact numbers. I've actually been, the last day and a half, I've been doing nothing but preparing client reports, so I'm getting a little, some of the report numbers mixed up in my mind. But in this one, I have to tell you, another thing that I'll point out is here, we've spent this much, and this is the, we have the checkouts, and this is the checkouts from this ad. But I'm looking here, and I would even have to look at the report in context for the total conversion value. Overall, this, if the amount spent on this is $185, and we've got $591 in checkouts, that's awesome. If this is our total, if this is the total, and this should be what I usually do is say, here's the total that we made, and this is the total checkout during the reporting period. So this is $591 in the reporting period. This is the what do they call it? Total conversion value. So if you look in your report, I usually put the amount spent next to the total conversion value, and then track it all the way through. So if you set up your reports in a custom way, you can start to see that, here as well, this had a much higher click-through rate. If I'm only looking at click-through rate and lead cost, and I'm trying to get the best leads possible, I would have turned off this top ad, and I would have missed out on the difference between, right here, this $197 and $591. So it's really important to get all the way through and at an ad level what's going on in the funnel. So thank you, Jimmy, for saying that.
Yes, thank you.
Now moving through as well, let's create a traffic system that supports the marketing funnel. So another thing that I see is that people are creating ads that are not acknowledging their past customer behavior. Now, if someone has already taken the first step with you, then what you're going to want to do is actually acknowledge that. So don't treat them like a stranger every time. So they're going to be reacting differently based on how well they know you and how many steps that they've already taken in the current campaign. And what you can do, this is where that lost traffic we talked about earlier becomes so important. And that's looking at how do we move people through step 1, step 2, and keep them moving down through the system. Which leads us into the step 4, where I'll spend a little bit of time here. Slides will advance here. Step 4 is planning promotions that work like a traffic funnel to actually accelerate the sales and marketing piece. I keep a ton of swipe files. I love seeing ads, seeing what all kinds of people are doing, and I just happened when preparing this presentation, I had these 2 handy and I popped it in. These are, you can tell from the, actually the format, they're from a couple years ago, and it is from, in this particular promotion, we see here that there's Frank Kern gave away a book, Convert, and guess what? I signed up for this book, and just a few days later, what do I see in my news feed? I see, hey, you ordered my book. Guess what? It came with an advanced training. Sign up. Wow. Okay. Well, what is he doing? Let me go back to the previous slide. He's taking me from one step and moving me to the next. And the tools that we have in place to do that are really such that any of us can do this if we have the right system in place, know the key actions that we want to have happen to kind of track, and then the right things to say to get them to move on. So that is step number 4. Step number 5 is creating and executing a traffic plan early. It goes back to what we talked about before with you saying that with the traffic system and the marketing system, where it really makes me cringe to hear people say, oh, we'll just add the, go to the traffic store, just build a funnel and then just add traffic, like just add water. To have really good traffic, you're looking at it strategically from the start. When we look at moving people from step 1 to step 2, if you don't have the infrastructure in place to capture and cookie the people that are at each step of the funnel, you won't be ready to recapture them as they move through. So really at the beginning of any campaign, before you start spending money on ads and running traffic through, what you want to do is have all that in place. And that's looking at your core campaign and also looking at how you can even expand outside of Facebook. So, we want to execute a traffic plan, so we have options to scale. We can scale within one platform within Facebook, which is fantastic, as we all know, for targeting for just about every industry. But there's a whole internet out there, and there are a lot of other ad platforms that really let us get beyond the comfort zone of Facebook and make a huge impact, because guess what? Not many other people are doing that. So when you start adding traffic sources that are already worked into your campaign, meaning that let's say that I'm on Forbes.com and I see something that says, hey, you ordered my book, you sign up for a strategy session. Wow. Now that is truly personalized marketing, and it becomes where your ads continue the conversation and help move people through the funnel versus being an annoyance and always sending people to your front-end landing page. I think that's the real power of looking and executing a traffic plan. So here we have just a quick recap is what are the...
Well, Victoria, can I jump in on that real quick?
Please do, yes.
On number 5. So, the way, I mean, it is exactly, what you said, but I'd just like to expand on that real quick, because what is so powerful about this is that you have all of these other traffic sources, but now you also have a list of, when you use strategic retargeting, that you can target people on the other platforms that have only seen your content, so it is super tightly targeted. And then if you have ever heard of the concept You Everywhere Now, or building authority presence and all of this stuff, and like become the expert in your niche, all of that is buzz and a bunch of catchwords. But this is a strategic plan to make that happen, because someone may see you on Facebook, then they see you on Business Insider, then they see you on Forbes, then they see you here, and they see you there. And that's generally how you become familiar, because we know today in the marketplace that, there's like 16, 17 touch points before someone makes a buying decision. So the more they can see us and see us in different places, it has so much more value than someone seeing my ads every single day in the Facebook news feed. Now they're seeing me on authority sites. And that, to me, is really encompasses what building your authority positioning is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's just, and it's amazing how many people we get so myopic with Facebook, and so enamored of our world there. And when I say we, I'm just talking about in general a lot of marketing advertisers, that you forget about some of these other properties, and because of that, there's huge opportunity for people who take advantage of them strategically in their marketing.
Awesome.
Okay, and just to recap, the 5 steps to predictable profits, and it's really getting a funnel in place that's delivering predictable leads that are targeted for you, and sending leads through, and really even getting the data that you need to start refining the marketing funnel. The marketing funnel, you can't test and tweak and optimize at all without consistent lead flow coming through to begin with. So really the foundation of getting those predictable leads is the traffic and what it enables you to do. You can test and tweak the marketing funnel. You can target and test and tweak your actual targets. All of that in the way to get your ideal customers coming to you at a rate that essentially the goal is where you have, if you put $3 in and you get $5 out, or whatever it is that your goal is for the traffic spend, that gives you a predictable and scalable business. And the foundation for that is a traffic system that goes alongside your marketing system. So defining a traffic plan, looking at the types of traffic that are different. So treating cold, warm, hot, likely, and lost differently. We're going to speak to them differently in ads, both at the front of the funnel and as we retarget. So setting up tracking so that we see at an ad level all the way through to sale, like knowing exactly what ads are giving us the return on investment. Creating a traffic system that supports us. So again, it's looking at saying not just using the same types of ads for everything, but changing the conversation, treating people that we know like we know them, and showing that we're aware of where they are in the process, leading to step number 4, which is we're not going to treat retargeting campaigns like every other campaign. Retargeting campaigns are very different. If you use them too early, you risk burning out your list because your frequency is so high, and if that frequency just means the number of times your ad gets in front of someone, if you use retargeting too early in the process and you're not setting certain things correctly in your ad platforms, your frequency, you can really risk kind of making people mad. But use it too late, they lose the context of where they were in your funnel and they moved on to other things. So there's definitely an art to when and how to use retargeting, not just the steps that they're in the funnel, but the timing of it. And lastly is really looking beyond Facebook and putting in place a traffic plan early so you have the options to scale. Just like when you go to send an email to a list, if you don't have a list, you can't send the email. When you want to run retargeting ads, if you want to run ads to people who've landed on page 3 or step 3 of your marketing funnel, you need to have been cooking those people right from the start so that they're ready for you when you're ready to run those ads. So, awesome. Jamie, any last words on that you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I really hope for everyone that they understand the power of this. And the one thing that I do know is I've been in about every single Facebook marketing training there is in the marketplace, because I'm always sharpening my skills, and I've never seen anyone teach this. And I wish someone would have taught me from the beginning, because I would have saved thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars knowing exactly how to do it this way. So yeah,
Absolutely.
let's go ahead and move on. So, as we promised, we showed you how to effortlessly attract high quality leads every day and not have to worry about where your next client is coming from. And at the end of the day, that is what we have to do to dominate. Not just have a marketing funnel or system, or not just be running ads, but to have a traffic system, and more importantly, a strategic traffic system where we are doing exactly what Victoria said: the language, the messaging, the targeting, the trafficking, the traffic and the whole thing. So yeah, that is really what we need to dominate. And when you do that, when you solve that problem, all of your other problems go away. When you fix that lead flow, you get off of the roller coaster, the revenue roller coaster, my favorite thing, and I keep saying it backwards today. So basically right now you have a choice. We're at a fork in the road. You can stay stuck. You can also take this great information and go ahead and apply it yourself, or you can get Victoria and I to hold you by the hand and help you implement this in your business. And so what we've done is we've created the Smart Traffic System. So what it is an 8-week done with you program. So no, this is not an information product. This is literally a coaching program where we meet twice a week, every week for 8 weeks. And if we have to, we'll dig into your ads manager and help you get everything set up properly. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to do 2 live calls. On the first call every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, we're going to teach content. After we teach the content, we're going to open it up for live Q&A, screen sharing, whatever we need to do. And then we're going to come back on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, it's going to be purely Q&A that is specific to what we taught on Monday. So literally, you're getting taught something on a Monday, and then on a Monday and a Wednesday, 2 Q&A sessions about what was taught on Monday. And we're going to do that every single week for 8 weeks to make sure that you have your Smart Traffic System set up. So let's go ahead and advance, Victoria. And what I want to tell you is the goal of this program for both Victoria and I is, first of all, to help you double your investment in the program in the first 30 days. And I'm going to get into how I'm going to help you do that. And then, besides that fast start goal, our goal is really to have you have your own smart traffic system dialed in. And so once you create this once for yourself, you can continue to create it for yourself, changing offers and everything else. And I would also suggest to you that if you really want to offer Facebook services to clients as an agency, to my knowledge, this is the best training that you could possibly get to do that, simply because I've saw the other trainings in the marketplace and they don't teach what is being taught here. And this is something I wish I would have had. And really, if we set this up for you now, it goes through the end of the year, you can literally finally once and for all say that 2016 is your year, because you're going to have that problem solved. So let's talk a little bit more about the program and go ahead and move through of who this is for. So if you sell any type of products or services online, then this is for you. If you're an action taker and you're committed to doing the work, this is for you. And if you have a real business that really helps clients and helps clients transform their lives, this is for you, because this is going to allow you to help more people. Now, who this is not for, there's a couple of people. So this is for people who will not show up and do the work. So, obviously we're going to have all the recordings of this, and you can go back and learn it on your own. But what we want is people who are really committed to making a difference, and we want you to show up, at least one time a week and actually watch the content on a Monday. And if you don't have time to stay for the Q&A or watch the content on Tuesday, whenever it is, because you'll have it in a membership portal, but we want you to show up live for one of the Q&A sessions and watch the content. If this is something you think you may do next year or something, this isn't a good fit, because what we're going to be doing is holding you by the hand and helping you get this set up. And if you don't want to show up and help us do that, this is not really a good fit for you, because we want to help people who are just committed to getting their own thing set up. And one of the biggest things I see is people who buy coaching programs or maybe even info products with this is not, and they set it on the shelf and say they'll get to it later. This is not who we want in here. We're keeping this to a very small group. So this is not, there are not going to be, dozens and hundreds of people in here. It's going to be a very small group, and it's going to be very personal and interactive. So to benefit from it most, you're going to have to show up. And obviously we don't want, this is nothing for get rich quick or, people that don't really have any value to put in the marketplace, because we don't want to help people learn how to market stuff that isn't really good for the marketplace. So let's go ahead and move to the next slide, and let's talk about what's included. And we're going to have 8 weekly content webinars. So I kind of described this. At the end of the content we teach, we'll be teaching it live. We're going to follow that up with a Q&A session. And then that's going to be on a Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Then on a Wednesday, we're going to come back and we're going to have live Q&A. And we'll do screen shares. We'll jump into your ads account if you want us to jump into your ads account and share your screen and help you really get this set up. There'll be a training portal with all of the recordings in it, and you will have that archive forever. You'll have the content to go back and review. You'll have your Q&As all set up, and you'll have it forever. As long as the portal exists, unless until Kajabi goes somewhere, you'll have it. And then there's also going to be a Smart Traffic System members-only Facebook group. So, if you have questions between calls or anything like that, go ahead and post them in there. You may get help from other members. Of course, the group is going to be small, but, what Victoria and I are committed to do is cruising through that group once a day and answering any questions that we may see. And so to go ahead and grab this, if we start working together, these are going to be the same methods we use for our private clients and even our celebrity clients, and we're going to expect you to be making sales within the first 4 days, and that is actually going to come in a way that I'm going to explain. And, if you allow us to, we will certainly hold you accountable to your goals. So if your goal is to have your traffic system set up and leads coming in, we're going to give you a loving but gentle push and say, hey, this is what you wanted, and this, you want to change your life, your family's life, and, so we need to get this set up. So how can we help you, remove obstacles to get this done? And that's that's it. So let's go ahead and move and talk, specifically about what we're going to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, Jimmy, if you wouldn't mind just typing into the chat box so people have it, the URL. In fact, you know what, I'm right here. I will go ahead and do it. It's STS for Smart Traffic System, JHA for J Harding Enterprises 1. So I think I spelled that right. That is in the traffic. So
Yeah.
it's jimmyharding.com/STS-JHA1.
Yeah, and that's actually for Jimmy Harding Alumni 1. So we would just kind of, like I said, this is going to be a small training, and we were literally, just doing this for, a segment of my list and community.
Yeah, and just decided to open it up a little bit more, but it's a small beta group because we're going to be doing so much hand-holding throughout. And as Jimmy mentioned, definitely a interactive program and not an information product. There's a big distinction. So let's go through,
so
I will. Let's talk a little bit about for each week, and I'll spin through this pretty quickly here. But what can you expect? So within week 1, what we're really going to be doing is designing the campaign. As you may have seen in the previous slides when we walked through the system, a lot of it is about the upfront planning that we do and pixeling the right pages, knowing what we're going to be tracking, knowing what our targets are, and getting real scientific to take the guesswork out of the marketing. That's the whole goal. The way that we get predictable is to make it objective so we know what's working and what's not by the numbers. And we're going to help you get that set up. So first of all, some people may come in knowing exactly what funnel they want to try or what funnel you have a campaign that's already running. But very often you're going to want to look at your business and say, okay, what is going to be my core funnel that is going to bring people through? And it could be that if you have consulting and that's your main stop, that you have, a strategy session funnel that you're building, or maybe you're having front-end leads to a membership site and you want the lower dollar continuity program as your main funnel. Whatever it is, that's okay. So we're going to really work together to decide what that core campaign is going to be. We're going to give you some proven funnels so you have templates, so you're not coming in here with completely fresh. So if you don't have an idea what it is, we'll help you get there. So we'll get clear on what you're selling, who you're helping, how you're going to get their attention. And then also, almost always, I find when I work with clients that they have existing assets that they can use and leverage as we move into the marketing piece and more of the promotion piece than they realize. So we have some exercises to help you identify your existing assets that are going to help you make sales moving forward. And so then we're going to start laying the foundation for your smart traffic system. In week number 2, we're going to get your smart traffic sources set up the right way. Now remember, we talked about how, before we run any ads, we want to know what our key touch points are going to be. They will be specific to the type of funnel that you're creating, your type of campaign. And so, but we want to know those ahead of time so we can get the right pixels and build the right lists before we send any traffic through. Because, as I mentioned before, you can't target people who've landed on step 2 and haven't moved to step 3 if you haven't been capturing people right from the start that land on step 2. So there is if you're really doing the smart traffic system the right way, we need to get those things in place ahead of time. So we're going to be looking and diving deep into those 5 types of traffic, how we're going to target them, and where are the best traffic sources to find those people and get the tracking in place. So now we're going to get really into knowing the numbers. So we've started putting together the map, and now we're diving into what the numbers are to get a crystal clear idea of what's working and what's not. Because again, the goal is to take the guesswork out. Based on the type of funnel, we'll have different conversion metrics at each stage, but we'll help you set the conversion metrics that you want to hit to get very clear on your revenue goals and what it's going to take to get there. So if we know that we need to convert the opt-in page at least 30%, that's going to be in our revenue spreadsheet. And as we run the campaigns, all of those reports that I showed you, we're going to be checking back and saying, am I hitting 30% at this particular stage in the funnel? So this is where we now take, we have the overall system, we have the traffic, we're getting real with the numbers here and really identifying the metrics we're going to be watching. Then we're going to now dive into actually refining it, setting up and launching the first round of ads. So, week number 4 is where we're really getting into the first round of ads for the right traffic sources. Because I mentioned using certain traffic sources too early or too late can be a campaign killer. So we're only going to start with the first 3 as and when it makes sense based on the type of traffic we have coming through and the numbers. And so it's somewhat tied to your ad spend. So we're going to go through exactly how to target each specific traffic source and when, and start the ads. In week number 5, we're going to be monitoring those ads, and really setting up custom reports. So in the same way that I just grabbed 2 line items from that previous Facebook report, we're going to set those up for every one of your campaigns. So you can go into your ad account and know exactly what ad and audience and image and text are making you sales and which ones are not. So now this is a fun part where we can actually look and say, as these results are coming through, how are they meeting the metrics I set up? It becomes a game. And it becomes something that, again, takes the guesswork out. That's the whole goal, is to get predictable. And then in week number 6, we look at expanding out. There's a time and place to expand, and it's not right at the beginning. So we're going to then, based on what we have going on, we're going to continue to refine the first traffic sources we have in place, but we're going to expand out to 2 others. And we're really going to learn how, as we expand, the right types of ads to use at this stage in the process. Lastly, we're going to be scaling all of the traffic sources now. So really now you should be having enough traffic coming through from different sources and seeing and tracking the results. So you're going to have a good feel after going through this process there are 5 types of traffic, and we're also looking at 5 traffic sources. So how do those play off of each other? What are you looking for to see if it's working or not, and when to expand? And then lastly is going evergreen. What we'd like is to spend less time monitoring and more time, processing the leads and talking to people that are coming through our system here. So we're going to talk about some considerations. How do you automate key aspects of this campaign so that you're spending less and less time on it going forward, and it does become your engine in the background that sends you predictable lead flow, and when you need more leads, you put more money in. So we're going to talk about that. So that is the 8-week, but we do have some bonuses in line. And Jimmy, you want to walk us through what we've got here?
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So what we have for you is the 3 highest converting funnels that we use for me and all of my clients to basically go ahead and give them to you. So if you don't have a funnel, you'll be able to use either the webinar funnel, the case study video funnel, or the free report funnel. So if you're just at the beginning and you don't have a funnel in place, don't worry about that and don't let that stop you, because we're going to give you the 3 high converting funnels where you'll be able to basically plug them into whatever software you use. So if you use Leadpages or ClickFunnels or any of that type of stuff that is really just drop and drag or fill in the blank templates, you'll be able to take our funnel and recreate it. And then the next thing, well, I had somewhere, I don't actually have it. So on this slide, so there was another thing. So I had another bonus for you. And so if you remembered, one of the things that I said was my goal for you really is to double your investment in this course in the first 30 days. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to give you some sales training about how to close high-ticket sales. And I actually have a script that I use in my business and with my coaching clients and stuff. So I will be providing you with that script and training, so you will know how to do it. And then I also have some ways, I call it the Trojan horse method, where you can reach out to people who maybe you've been in contact with but never closed them. It's a spin on what we do, and it's Trojan horse marketing. And I believe that we can do some grassroots campaigning and using the sales system to really go ahead and close some sales. And I mean, I've literally done the sales training, and that's part of a different program, but I mean, that is a $5,000 program, and I'm going to give you that along with those organic lead generation things, just because I want to help you, and I want it to be critical that you can literally go ahead and sign up and double your investment in the first 30 days. So for the coaching program, when we relaunched this in 2016, if we do it again, we're not sure how we're going to do it, but if we ever do it again in this fashion, where we're going to be having 2 live calls a week and holding people's hands and screen sharing and helping them get it set up, it would be a minimum $5,000. But today, as we originally opened this up, to my community and to a small segment of my list, we put this in place to let you get started immediately for 2 payments of $1,200. And if we just did not want price to be a barrier. And if you want to save an additional $400, you can just make 1 payment of $2,000, and that's it. And so the important thing is we are starting Monday. We are starting Monday, what is that, the 16th, Victoria?
It is.
Okay, so Monday the 16th at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. So, this is a perfect time to go ahead and jump in with another small group of committed people. And, I can tell you now that the majority of everyone who is in the class so far are coming from my mastermind. So these are all people that are, in the trenches doing that. So that certainly adds to your benefit in, being in that Facebook group with, a group of people who are day in, day out running, running ads and making high ticket sales. But the advantage, and even those guys are smart enough to know that they need to have this whole system in place so they can track from end to end and expand their traffic sources. So, I really highly encourage everyone, if you are if you're not hitting your income goal of what you've been wanting to hit, and you've bounced around from program to program, or you have a funnel that is not working for you, the biggest problem that we find is there's a funnel or a marketing system and not a traffic system, just random traffic. Even though the targeted may be even though the traffic may be targeted, it's still in a random and not systematic way where we're targeting all 5 types of traffic at the right time in the right place. So I highly encourage anyone who is ready to take their business to the next level and really get it done to come into this unique opportunity where we're going to hold your hand twice a week and actually dig into your campaign if we need to in your ads manager to help you set anything up that you need set up. So, I guess with that, Victoria, if there are any questions, we can go ahead and open it up to questions. But I highly encourage everyone to go to jimmyharding.com/STS for Smart Traffic System, JHA1. So, and if we can, just go ahead and do that. But I mean, the bottom line is if you can't make that happen, or you have questions, or you can't find a URL or anything, just reach out to Victoria or I on Facebook, and we'll get you, the link or whatever you need. So if you have any, additional questions about whether this would work for you or not, and you want to talk about that before you sign up, go ahead and reach out to us. I'm happy to have a quick conversation. Just hit me up on Facebook. But, the deal is like, we've got to limit this. So I can promise you there's definitely going to be under 20 people, and, it'll probably be closer to 15. I think we've got, a few people in there now, and we think we can best serve around 15 people, so that's why we decided to go ahead and open it up to a few more people, because we had a few slots left. So
excellent.
Go ahead, so go ahead and check that out, and if you have any questions, go ahead and type it in the chat box, and I'll go ahead and look for any questions right now, if you want.
I see one coming through, and I'll just go ahead and read it out here, is I'm just finishing my coaching program. Is this still something that I could use? So I think it's a timing thing for them. So they're coming to market with a brand new coaching program, and would this type of course be a good fit?
I think it would be the best fit, simply because you have your program finishing now, you're just finishing it, and so think about if you could start right now and spend 8 weeks with us getting that done. There's probably some shortcut things we could do in my bonus training to help you get some sales, but I mean, if you could set your system up and start getting leads, and that's exactly what Victoria and I do, is we help people. Our main thing is helping people sell coaching, and so, getting your lead funnel set up, your webinar funnel set up, whatever that is, you have to have your traffic system in place. So I would say that, this is a perfect fit at the perfect time for you.
Got it. And then another one is, does this include Facebook ads training? And I'll take that one. Facebook ads is a critical aspect of this. I will say it's not the only aspect, but it is certainly a majority. And yes, because of that, we do have Facebook ads training. So if you're just getting started in that, don't worry about it. If you've been doing ads for a while, I feel certain that you're going to pick up some tips in this, particularly in how we're targeting, who to target when throughout the funnel, and how to speak to them based on what they've already done. But remember that an aspect of this, a very key aspect, is to give you the edge by taking what you've done in Facebook and amplifying it on other platforms. So we are going to be talking about other types of ads as well. Okay, I think those are the only ones that I saw that hopped out. Will there be this is, remember at the beginning you mentioned that we had going to be sending a funnel to people who stayed on till the end. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to be sending the $600,000 funnel, which is actually the $50,000 a month funnel, and that is a funnel that goes from a report to a strategy session. So I have all of that laid out for you, and I'll be sending a PDF of that out, and I will be sending a PDF of these slides out for you. So that, at some point, probably later on tonight, I'll go ahead and cook up an email of the people that are still on and send that out to them.
Excellent. All right, last call. Any remaining questions before we wrap up? No, looks like we're good. All right, Jimmy, thanks so much, and thanks to everyone here for taking time out of your day, and really hoping that we'll see you in the course, and at the very least, you can take some of the concepts that we've talked about here and really crush it with your marketing campaigns. That's our goal here, is to help you be successful, whether that's on your own by giving you ideas or by working with us and helping us coach you through the process. Thanks so much to everyone for attending.
Sounds great. Have a good one, and if you have any questions, reach out to me on Facebook, Jimmy Harding. I'm happy to answer them, and more than that, I highly encourage you, especially the two people that asked the questions, because this is for you to go to jimmyharding.com/STSJHA1. And Victoria, if you could take that URL and do a redirect on smarttrafficsystem.net, that would be awesome.
Yep, can certainly do that.
Good, awesome. And I will go ahead and get that taken care of for everyone. So yeah, go ahead and reach out to us, and we look forward to serving you in the program starting Monday. So have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.